Hey racers, and welcome back for another live stream. Today's live stream topic is how to build fitness for fast desert racing. So this could be events like we've got Yellow Mountain, which is this weekend. Events like Think, even include Hatta. Could be the Kalgoorlie Desert Race that we have here in WA, and there's a heap of other fast desert races that you can get out to as well. So this is specifically talking about the fitness side. Hey Matthew. And there's two types of fitness that you need to build. Okay, when we're talking about the cardio side of building for these long distance races, and especially the fast races, okay, where you're really flat out for a long period of time. There's two energy systems. Okay, there's the aerobic system and there's the anaerobic system. Hey Josh. And so we need to make sure that we're building a combination of both of these. So the difference between these two energy systems is one operates when you ride at a high intensity, hey Luke, and the other one operates when you're riding or your body is giving a lower level of intensity effort. So for example, this would be like, let's say I got you out for a run and we're out at the park. Okay, if I just got you to go to the park and just do laps, and I said, okay, I just need you to keep a constant pace and I just need you to run around the park for an hour, and you did that, that would be using your aerobic system. Okay, same as like going for a cycle for an hour, or even going for getting on the rowing machine for 30 minutes to an hour. It's just repetitive movement, consistent intensity for a long period of time. That's your aerobic system. Now, the other energy system is your anaerobic energy system. So this is the energy system that you use when you're sprinting or when your body is giving an all-out effort. So this would be, like an example, would be going to the park and doing a 100-meter sprint, okay? Or it would be getting on the rowing machine and doing a 1 minute on, 1 minute off intervals. That would be anaerobic. Or it could be on your cycle bike, could be doing like a hill sprint, okay? It takes you a minute and a half to get to the top of the hill, and then you come back down. That would be your anaerobic energy system. So when you're racing and when you're doing fast desert racing, you need a combination of both of these. And the reason you need a combination of both is because both of these energy systems are being used when you go and ride. And that's what makes riding so hard. So there's two things that you need to factor in. So let's say we take Think, for example. Okay, so very fast riding, very fast racing, and for most of you, probably around the 3-hour mark, depending on your ability that you're going to be on the bike. But over that 3 hours of riding at Think, it's not just a consistent intensity. Okay, it's not like you're on a road racing bike and going in a straight line for 3 hours and you've just got the bike on at 100 k's, okay, or plus, going for a leisurely cruise. Within that 3 hours, there's different periods of intensity. Okay, there's some parts of Think which are really rough, really whooped out. Okay, you really got to get up on the pegs, get up on your feet, really physically demanding. And then there's other parts where it's a little bit flatter, where you can just sit down or you're moving fast, but your body's getting a little bit of a break. It's not as demanding in your body. So we've got two energy systems. We need to train for the 3 hours, which is just being on the bike for that period of time. So that's our aerobic system. But then we also need to train our anaerobic energy system, which is those short sprints or bursts of really high intensity that we have within those 3 hours. And so the way that you train that, so I'll show you or teach you how to train them on the bike and with your training during the week. So if you want to train these energy systems on the bike, you probably need to be riding a few times a week to be able to do this effectively for both energy systems. So to train the aerobic system, what you would need to do is do longer distance rides. So it could be half an hour on the bike, an hour on the bike, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. You're just training your body to keep moving, okay, and to work at a consistent intensity for a long period of time. So that's how you would train the aerobic energy system on the bike. The way that you would train your anaerobic energy system is the opposite. It's using like short, sharp bursts of high intensity. So it's like interval training, but with your riding. So you could have like a little, maybe a few corners of the track that you practice, okay, and you do them really hard, 100%, and then have a bit of a break and then go again. So you might do, let's say, for example, you might do a section of the track which takes you a minute. You do that flat out as hard as you can go, and then you might rest for a minute. Okay, or the other way that you can do it, like if you could use a motocross track. If you're an enduro rider, you could get down to a motocross track or like a ride park. And if they've got a motocross track there, you can do 2 or 3 laps, flat out as hard as you can go, have a break. Okay, 2 or 3 laps as hard as you can go, have a break. I recommend a 1-1 rest ratio. So what that means is if you're doing three laps at the motocross track and that takes you 4 minutes, let's say, then you rest for 4 minutes. Okay, the rest is important because that allows you to go hard then for the next interval and use the right energy system. So that's how you would train both of them on the bike. And again, to train both of those energy systems, you have to be riding multiple times in the week, okay, to be able to train both energy systems effectively just using riding. And that's why, like, for a lot of, excuse me, for a lot of professional riders and racers, they can get away with not necessarily having to have the best training system, okay, or best off-bike system, because they're building these energy systems while they're riding, because they're doing high amounts of riding. Whereas for most of us, we're not riding every day as much as we'd probably like to. So how do we train these in the gym? So the way that you train the aerobic energy system in the gym is doing a longer distance cardio. So it could be like a 20-minute row, could be an hour mountain bike ride, could be a go for a cycle. Okay, if you like running, you can go for a run for half an hour, 45 minutes. That would be building your aerobic system. And then how do we build the anaerobic system is where we use interval training. So you could jump on the rower and you could do, say, sprint 500 meters and then rest, sprint 500 meters and then rest, using that 1-to-1 ratio again. And you can do the same for running. So if you wanted to go to the park and do 400-meter sprints, you can do that. Sprint for 400 meters, rest for however long it took you to do the 400, and then go again. That will train your anaerobic system as well. So the whole goal is you want to have a combination of both of those. It's not just going down one road or going down the other road. It's just a combination of both. My recommendation and what I do with our riders is the best way to train the aerobic energy system, I find, is doing that with your bike time, especially if you're doing enduro racing, okay, you're doing fast enduro racing. You can't get away with not spending large amounts of time on the bike when you do go for a ride. That doesn't mean you have to go riding every day. What it does mean, though, is when you do get out on the bike, if you're getting out, say, once a week, those rides need to be in that 3 to 4 hour mark if that's how long you're going to be racing for. You're not going to be able to get away with doing, an hour of cycling every week, and then every time you get on the bike, you just go to the motocross track and do a few laps, and then expect to somehow be ready to go for Fink, okay, or get ready to go for Hattah, ready to go for Yellow Mountain or the Kalgoorlie Desert Race or whatever it is that you're doing. There's things that are specific to riding the bike, okay? So you can't train instead of riding. You still need to spend a decent amount of time on the bike when you get out there, and that's the same for motocross as well. So if you're doing 30-minute motos for motocross, then you can't do 30 minutes on the rower during the week and then get to the weekend and then just do a few laps at a time and then expect to be good at 30-minute motos, even though you built the same energy system. There's a level of specificity to your training, and part of that has to come from spending a decent amount of time on the bike. So if you're doing half-hour motos for racing, then when you go and practice, do half-an-hour motos to get your body comfortable being on the bike for that long as well, in addition to the training you're doing during the week. Common mistakes that I see. Most riders will train for duration of the event. So they'll go, okay, I'm doing Fink and I'm going to be on the bike for roughly 3 hours. So I need to do lots of endurance work. So they'll start doing like running for hours a week and doing a whole heap of kilometers, rowing for hours, doing a whole heap of long, crazy workouts all the time. And the thing that they miss is they miss the anaerobic energy system. And that's why they find the transfer between their training during the week and their racing on the weekend isn't as good as what it could be or as what it should be. And that's because they haven't trained their anaerobic energy system, which makes up that 3 hours. Okay, it's not like going for a cycle. It's not like we're doing Tour de France and we're just ticking over. It's not like we're running a marathon and we're just ticking over for 3 hours. That 3 hours is made up of different intensity. Some are very high intensity, take a lot of physical effort, and some are much lower intensity. So you need to get your body used to that. And the way you do that is, like I talked about, through the interval training and using aerobic work as well. Another common mistake is their bike time's not long enough. So like I was saying before, I find with riders, some of them, they'll try and train the energy systems, but they just got things in the wrong order. At the end of the day, you do need to be spending time on the bike. Okay, never can you replace riding with just doing a whole heap of training. Okay, so if you're doing motocross and you do half-hour motos, then if that's the thing that you need work on, then go and practice half-hour motos on the weekend. If you do 3 or 4 hour enduro races, go and do 3 or 4 hour enduro rides then when you go out and practice. Get your body comfortable being on the bike, because there's no amount of leg extensions, okay, or squats or deadlifts or overhead presses or cardio work or cycling that you can do that's going to replace you getting comfortable on the bike for 3 to 4 hours. That's something that is very sport specific. Okay, same as for any other sport, like a football player. Football players don't just go and run all week and then just kick the ball on game day and expect to do well because they'd be shit. Okay, because they haven't been kicking the ball. So the fitness has to work in with your skills, which is the time on the bike. So when you get out on the bike, spend as much time on it as you can. Another common mistake I see is riders just think cardio is cardio. And so they just get out there and they do whatever. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll go for a mountain bike ride. Yeah, I'll walk the dog today. Yeah, I'll go for a cycle. Yeah, I might go for a 5K run. And they just scoop all cardio into one basket. And they don't know the difference between the two energy systems. And so even though they might be doing a lot of work and doing a lot of training and clocking up the Ks, and your 5K run might be getting faster. Your 10K road might be getting quicker. You might be able to do the loop that you do around the block on your cycling bike faster. But that doesn't necessarily mean that just because those things are getting faster that you're actually going to be better when you get out on the bike. So that's really it. A bit of a recap. There's two types of energy systems. Okay, there's the anaerobic and the aerobic, and you just need to make sure that you're working on both of those. So use intervals in some form and use aerobic long distance pieces in some form. My recommendation is that you use the longer distance pieces when you're out on the bike so you can get good quality bike time in at the same time, as well as building your aerobic energy system. And something that's takes a little bit less time, you can do during the week with your training, which is your interval training. So if any of you guys would like help with your training at all, I'm looking for 3 more riders that would like to get an A grade level of fitness in the next few months. I need you, in saying that, I do need you to commit to 3 training sessions each week. And you don't have to be riding the bike every day. If you're riding the bike at least once a week, just out on the weekend, that is great. Happy days. So once I jump off this live stream, I'll put the link in the comments for you below. And if you'd like to apply, you are welcome to do that. Otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will chat to you soon. See ya.